Before we begin with what is Panorama and see the different features and the management of Palo Alto Firewalls with Panorama, let's start with looking at some of the direct options which are available on Palo Alto Firewalls. The Palo Alto Firewalls have different types of management modes that includes the CLI or the command-based, the web-based using the web browsers, and the API-based. So the API-based using XML or the REST APIs. Then on the Palo Alto Firewalls individually, the admin can configure and manage different types of rules. That includes the security rules where the admins allow, permit, or kind of drop the traffic. The admins configure the NAT rules, the SSL decryption rules, and the other types of rules like the QoS, the application override, and some other rules. Then the admins can use these management methods like CLI, web, or API based to configure the different types of profiles. That includes the security profiles like the antivirus profiles, the file blocking profiles, then different types of LDAP profiles, the admin authentication profiles like Radius, the VPN profiles like IKE, IPsec, and then the security profiles or like the attack protection profiles like denial of service protection profile, the zone protection profiles, and some other profiles. Then on each of the individual Palo Alto firewalls, the traffic logs can be stored locally or those can be forwarded to log servers like SIEM servers. On the Palo Alto firewalls, the admins can manage the software updates, the threat prevention updates, or the dynamic updates. The routing, interfaces, zones, etc. can be managed directly on the Palo Alto firewalls as well. So for all these managements or the management of these different types of configuration, the admin has to use these methods: the command-based, the web-based, or the API-based method. Now, what is the challenge with the Palo Alto firewalls? So, if you have a few number of firewalls, then those can be managed easily by the admins. But if there are lots of multiple firewalls which are in use, then the management can become difficult. Why? Because the enterprises can have different or multiple number of firewalls based on the requirement, like the number of VCs, cloud, remote office, subsidiary, or the branch offices. So based on these different types of needs, they can need different number of firewalls. Now let's say there is an admin who is managing the different number of firewalls. So firewall 1, 2, 3, up to 100. So this admin will need to log into these different number of 100 firewalls to manage all the things, the rules, the NAT, the QoS, etc. So this is a cumbersome and difficult process. And it is also error prone. More the number of firewalls means difficult management of those Palo Alto firewalls for the admin. So the admins like the firewall OS, agents, updates, they will need to manage these individually. The threat prevention updates on different number of firewalls individually, the license management on different number of firewalls, the policies, NAT, security profiles, QoS, decryption policies, etc. Then the routing, interfaces, zones, the device administration, the logs and troubleshooting plus correlation, all this needs to be done by the admin individually on each of the firewall. So this is a very difficult process. Now Palo Alto has provided a solution to that problem which we discussed in the previous slide, and that solution is called as Panorama. It is a product provided by Palo Alto Networks, and it can be like a physical appliance or it can be a virtual appliance, and it can be deployed in the cloud as well. So this Panorama is the solution to multiple Palo Alto firewalls management problem. How it does it? So this Panorama appliance can be used for the central management of different number of Palo Alto firewalls. The admins can use this Panorama to create or manage consolidated policy for different firewalls. The routing, interfaces, zones, the licenses, updates for different number of firewalls can be managed centrally using Panorama. Now let's say you have these 10 or let's say 100 firewalls, and we have this Panorama server here. So the admin will need to log into this Panorama, and all these configurations, the policy rule base, the routing, the interfaces, zones, and all the settings which can be configured directly on these firewalls can be managed centrally via this Panorama console. And the configurations from these Panorama can be then pushed to these individual firewalls as needed. Then the Panorama provides the central log management, meaning all these firewalls here will be sending their logs to the Panorama server. And then on this Panorama, the log correlation can be done to get more insights into traffic and threats. Now, if we don't have Panorama, then these firewalls will have limited visibility into the logs of these individual firewalls only. But this Panorama will be receiving the logs from all the firewalls in the deployment, and so it will have more insights into the threats and traffic. Then Panorama has a feature for the use of templates. So these templates are very useful for the provisioning of new firewalls. They can reduce the deployment times by a lot, and these can be used to manage the network settings, the zones, the interfaces, and some others. So as the name implies, template, so we can create some templates, and those templates can be used to provision different number of firewalls. Then the Panorama can be used for the central update management as well. The central update management means managing the operating system of different number of firewalls, managing the user agents updates, the threat prevention updates. The user agents mean the user ID agent, and then there is a global protect agent. So all these updates or rollbacks can be managed centrally via the Panorama server. So it's kind of a server. And then this Panorama can be used for the backups or like consolidated backups of different number of firewalls, like firewall 1, 2, 3. So the backup of these can be managed centrally via Panorama. So this is it for this session.